Good morning, Panther fans. Welcome to Grumpy Old Men Part. What is this? 14? We've played 13 games, so this is Grumpy Old Men Part 14. Okay, so I'm not sick anymore. Matthias
And
has
I'm
calmed
not,
down.
and I'm not half asleep anymore.
Yeah, Stu's not ready to freaking burn the planet down, falling asleep in the middle of the videos.
I
He's
gotta
got his
tell you,
cigars.
it was really embarrassing, kind of sort of half falling asleep during the recording of one of the videos, which you guys didn't see.
Yeah,
What was more embarrassing was like falling asleep while I was with my family. They thought I was on heroin or something. And when I told them that I had stayed up basically till 4 or 5 in the morning, each of those two games, and
yeah.
really didn't sleep for probably, I would say, close to 4 days straight. Maybe I got a few hours here. I was literally falling asleep, and my family was concerned about me. And then, of course, they knew that I watched the game, and they called me an idiot and
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
What can you do? That's my dedication to the team and the podcast and whatnot. But I've gotten some sleep. I came in early, if anybody doesn't know or whatever. I left Israel a day early because of the hurricane concerns, and I'm glad I did. I could have stayed, but I didn't. Glad I'm home. Not a cloud in the sky. Beautiful day. I've gotten some sleep, so I'm ready to go and hopefully get back to normal. But
yeah.
we didn't do a review of the last game. I think both of us kind of were still semi out of it. 3-0 win. What can you say? Knight deserves all the accolades. So if you want to start wherever you want to start.
Well, I got a couple places to start. I got two places to start. I'll throw both of these things out there and I'll let you have at it. They're very unrelated, but
okay.
So you got, on one hand, you got a lot of people concerned about the team and the slow start, et cetera, et cetera. I would just like everybody to understand that there are only 7 teams currently in the NHL with more points than the Panthers, and 2 of those teams have played more games. So, I mean, if we're still a top 5 team when we're playing not so good, do the math. The second thing is, this was an interesting thing I saw, was because I saw Calgary lost the 7th game in a row, and I was just reading a few things, and Sutter had to say a couple of days ago about Huberdeau, and I'm paraphrasing, I'm going to butcher the quote, but basically he said he's a work in progress. He's working on being a good player more consistently. And I almost spit out my oatmeal, because with the exception of last year, all I did was scream about somebody has to some way get Huberdeau to play consistently well. And I've kind of danced around this subject a couple of times. I threw it out there a few times, didn't get a whole lot of, but last season was the only year Huberdeau really put it together from game 1 all the way through. Also, last year, Huberdeau was playing for a big contract. Every other year, he was completely different, inconsistent player, the same player that they're seeing in Calgary right now, with the exception of last season when he put it all together, and that just happened to be when he was playing for a big payday. Those two things could be completely unrelated, but I'll let Stu have the floor.
Well, he certainly didn't finalize things as far as his playing for a new contract with us, because I think if he had dominated in the playoffs and we had advanced a lot further than we did, instead of going out with a whimper, he might still be here.
Yeah.
So all I'll say on the Huberdeau situation is, as I said when he left, I love the guy. I wish him luck in Calgary, but he's no longer a Panther. So as far as I'm concerned, he's no longer relevant with this team.
Sure.
What's past is past. He's now Calgary's fans' headache. So,
right.
Zoom just gave me I'm glad we have Chiching. That's all I'll say on that matter. I'm really happy that the loss of Uyghur has not really been a heavy impact on us. We picked up this kid Mahura.
No,
What can you
there's
say?
been a
What can
heavy
you say?
impact.
What
There's
can you
been a
say?
heavy impact,
Yeah,
but it's been positive.
right. I mean, what can you say? Montour has not only replaced Uyghur, in my opinion,
Yes,
he's always been a better overall player. But in
right.
my opinion, he's basically taken Uyghur out of the conversation.
Mhm.
Mackenzie, who?
Right,
It's all
right.
Montour now.
Yeah, yep.
Now, while we're on that subject, because this is a big question mark, Ekblad's coming back tomorrow. So
Right.
big question on everybody's mind, on my mind. I still am rattling it around. What do we do with the defense? And
Well,
who plays with who? Do we fuck up the chemistry that's going on now between Forsling and Montour? Do we, Ekblad's still your, number one defenseman.
right.
Again, I've always said that my opinion, Forsling is our best overall defenseman. Maybe Ekblad has more of the offensive threat with him. I wish Forsling would just do more offensively, but that's not his game.
Right.
He's defense. So at first I'm thinking, okay, so you throw back Forsling and Ekblad as the left-right number one. So now who plays with Montour? Do you mess up? Let me finish my train of thought.
Okay.
And
Sure.
then I'll shut up. Do you mess up the chemistry that's going on between Mahura and Gudis now? Because if you move Mahura up to 2 to play with Montour, which is what I'd like to see, again, left-right combination.
Right.
Mahura's that more of that Forsling stay back to concentrating on defense. Then you're stuck with Stahl and Gudis on the third pair. And you and I are both kind of worried about that combination.
Right. And that's
slow and
that's where I start is what do I want to avoid? And what do I want to avoid is the Stahl Gudis pairing. I think, you put when you look at the 6, if you're going to put Ekblad back with Forsling, you put Stahl with Montour and leave Mahura Gudis there. That the hope there is that Stahl doesn't limit what Montour can do offensively because the dude has 4 goals. You know what I mean? In 14 games, and he's missed a couple too. So I mean, he could legit at this pace, especially with Ekblad being hurt, he could end up the season more goals than Ekblad. If you wanted to keep Forsling and Montour together, but then the only natural pair to put with Ekblad is Mahura, and then you got Stahl Gudis. So
that's right. So that's where
So
that's where that's where I'm at in my head right now. As far as I'm concerned, I would leave things the way it is, even though, see, this is why you can't do this to a guy that's like one of the top leaders on the team. Make him a second pair defenseman, because if it's me coaching, I leave Forsling and Montour as the first pair.
And then what are you going to do? Stahl Ekblad? Ekblad?
I make Mahura and Ekblad the second pair, and I take my shot with Stahl and Gudis. That's what I do. Because I feel Mahura has been solid enough and is a good hockey IQ and skates well and knows what to do, that he could cover for the Ekblad fuck-ups. But also give Ekblad the ability to do his thing offensively. I feel if they put Stahl with Ekblad, you got someone that has proven to be too slow and to be easily beaten on a cough up of a puck or a wrong pass or something. You follow me?
Yeah.
If Stahl is with Ekblad, you got 2 slow skaters. So, again, experimentation, again, crap shooting, again, going with your gut instinct. Right now, I don't want to mess with Forsling and Montour, but I have a feeling, and this is just my feeling, trying to get in Maurice's head, he's putting Forsling back with Ekblad. Because let's just say Ekblad, is technically our number one defenseman.
Right.
You can't like psychologically demote the guy.
Right. Yeah.
So the question again now, if they do put Forsling with Ekblad, who plays with Montour? And then I just think, in my mind, I go with the kid. I go with Mahura and Montour. See how it plays out. You can always switch things around.
Right.
And we'll see what Maurice decides to do.
Yeah.
So far, he's taken most of our suggestions, and
right.
I mean, we've called it, and not to be braggadocious, but the bottom line is we called for Reinhart to be put back with Lundell. He did that.
Right.
I don't understand why he's screwed with not keeping Luosterainen on that third line. That in my opinion was a mistake.
Well, I think that was just temporary because of the one game, because
because Tkachuk was out. Okay.
Because Tkachuk was out. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Catching up. All right. So obviously if Luosterainen, Reinhart, and Lundell are going to be a line, that third line, leave them be, let them do their thing. But I think, taking Reinhart off that top line was just had to be done.
Happen. Right.
Obviously, we've seen what Tkachuk has done with Barkov, and Verhaeghe and Barkov have definitely been lightening up the last few games. Okay, so I'm taking the puck hog moniker off Verhaeghe temporarily based on that one perfect pass alone, which was highlight reel. I mean, that's how it's done. That's how a perfect pass to basically a tap in.
Look, that's
a perfect goal.
That is where his puck hog mentality played a part in that goal, because Ronta was cheating the shot, because here comes Verhaeghe. I noticed some of a bitch is going to shoot. Oh shit, he passed, and Barkov's right there. He was cheating. He was angled, and so I'll take it. I'll take it.
So guys, I'm taking that puck hog thing off. It's off now. He's not a puck hog. He's
if something happens to Verhaeghe, Stu has to go back to bitching about Verhaeghe.
No, I just
if he goes into a slump, you have to start bitching about him again.
No,
that's all I'm saying.
If he just does his skate around thing where he holds on to the puck in the offensive zone,
right,
and there's 4 players open and he refuses to pass the puck, hey man, that puck hog label going right back on. Because that's what Trocheck used to do, and it infuriated me.
So let's talk about Bob and Knight. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. I interacted a little bit on Twitter yesterday. It's not on fire yet, and most people kind of seem to agree with me in terms of you still give Bob you give him another group of games to see what's going on here. I mean, his numbers are bad and Knight's are really good. So the shutout really, really widened that gap between the two. But did Bob suddenly get bad? I mean, I know he's 34, but that's a little young. I think you throw him back out there you at least give him another game. If he goes back out there and gives up another 4 or 5 goal ski where he's not looked good at all, then you got to roll back with Knight, and then we might have some kind of switch happening here. If Knight's going to continue to play at this level, I mean, he's playing at a 920-something, 2.18. I mean, he's playing at a Vezina level statistically. small sample size. He could play worse, Bob could play better, but another week or two like this, and there's not going to be much of a choice for Maurice to have, but to go tonight, and then that just explodes the whole narrative around the cap and all of that. Because if that happens and Knight beats him out, and then Bob's really, really untradeable. You think he was already untradeable with the contract. Well, if his play has declined, which I don't think it has, but
we just laid an egg in a couple of those games. Again, it's not like we're 3-8 or whatever.
Bob is 3-4 and Spencer Knight is 5-1.
All right, listen.
Okay.
Listen, as far as tomorrow goes, it's 2 games in a row. The last game was a shutout. You keep riding the hot goalie. So I'd be shocked. Right. I'd be shocked to see Bob in net tomorrow and not Knight.
Right.
And I'm anxious, I'm going to the game. Thank you, Dana. I'm looking forward to always looking forward to seeing the most exciting player in the game. I mean, I watched another highlight goal last night, a recap. I don't remember what team it was that Edmonton was playing. I think it was the Hurricanes. I'm not sure, but he made another one of those, quick thinking.
Right.
Connor McDavid shift gears in full sixth gear, and he scored another goal. I mean, the guy is just, you can't, any chance you get to see Connor McDavid play, you got to go and see him play live, because TV, you just can't. You can't. It doesn't do him justice. And again, when I go to games, I zero in on a player, and I'm not at the mercy of the camera. I'm able to stay on that player and watch what they do away from the puck, and he's just a whiz. And Edmonton is, it's not doing so well, even though they have Connor McDavid. So,
well, there's a lot of, there's so much going on in the standings right now that, Vegas and Boston are just at impossible to keep paces right now. I think Vegas has won 9 in a row.
They'll come back. They'll come down to earth. Every team does.
Yeah, and a lot of the look, like Buffalo not that long ago was in second place. Now they're next to last. Ottawa, probably people thought was going to be good. They're not working out. I think the Red Wings have lost a couple of games, so things are starting a little bit, at least in the East. They're starting to look a little bit. I looked this morning. It's Boston, Florida, Toronto, I think Detroit, and then Tampa Bay. But everybody's within like a point or 2 points of each other, so it's really, really muddled.
Still early, but
I don't think that out of the playoffs at Thanksgiving thing this year is going to apply, because it's all packed tight, right? And then the Devils too. That's the other team. I think they won again. And they, they're not going to keep that pace, but are they going to be able to maintain a decent pace long enough to actually be that team that replaces somebody in the playoffs? Because the Penguins look like dirt. The Capitals don't look all that well. So there's some changes going on with the dynamics of, especially in the East. And then you get a team like Edmonton coming in, and everybody's just kind of, there's a lot of meh. There's a lot of 6 and 5s and 8 and 5. You know what I mean? Everybody's just kind of feeling themselves out. And then you've got these few teams that are just killing it right now. But I'd rather be killing it in April and May. We've learned this lesson. You know what I mean? We were 11, 12 wins last year to start the season, some absurd number. Right.
Yeah, we were pretty much undefeated through 12 games.
Yeah. A lot of good it did us,
Yep. So, again, who cares? As long as we're staying, in the mix at that top 3, I don't care whether it's first, second, or third. I don't want to be a wild card. I want to be first, second, or third.
Right.
Doesn't matter how we get in. As long as we get in, I don't even care about the matchups anymore. I'm not rooting for us to play this team or them. Let the chips fall.
I lost you.
Style of hockey in
Dude, we lost
regular.
you. I don't know if you can hear
What
me or
happened?
not, but
I can hear you.
You can hear me, but I've completely lost you. You're completely frozen up. We'll give this another couple of seconds, and then if not, we'll just have to cut this here. Let's see. Can you hear me? Can you hear me at all?
Yep.
No? But I'm not. Yeah, but it took 10 seconds for me to hear and see your yes.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, well, now we're good. I think we're back to having a conversation now.
Yeah,
I think.
I haven't had any problems,
all right.
hearing or seeing you. All right. Well, so anyway, moving on from that, talk about the power play. Seems to be getting a little better. We're going to have Ekblad back.
Right.
Have Kachuk back. Excuse me. I'm looking for at least 1 or 2 power play goals tomorrow. I'll say it right now. I'm looking for a Kachuk goal tomorrow. I'm looking for an Ekblad goal tomorrow, right out of the bat. And hopefully Spencer Knight will be in and keep them to 1 goal, maybe 2, maybe we get 4. I'm looking for a 4 or 5-1 or 5-2 win.
Okay. All right. That sounds good. Look, I think because I'm going to be doing a review every 20 games because I did the prediction for every 20 games where they'd be. I think we've got to go 3, 2, and 1 to exactly match. So we might end up a little bit better than I said, which is good. Because a couple games ago, it was looking like we might be a little bit worse. So this homestand.
And we'll talk about the Bob Knight controversy when it gets to that point. We're not at that point yet. Right. I think in another game or two, if Knight has another stellar performance tomorrow, and then Maurice, what does he do? Then Knight's 3-0, and if we win again, my opinion has always been you play the hot goalie. Right. And Bob's going to be on the bench. He's going to be stewing and pissed off and motivated, and what we need the next time Bob plays is the team to put out 110% effort and get him his 4+ goals, because as we know, Bob gets his 4 goals, he usually wins the game. Right. Not so sure Maurice would agree with that, but the other part to how you said about these guys coming back on fire, I hope Kachuk comes back on fire on the line and not over the line. I hope he doesn't, take anything out on anybody and get, just take it out on the scoreboard, take it on the back of the net. You know what I mean? Yep. What happened? He can't pull any shenanigans tomorrow. Right. Strictly business. There's no need to, don't want to obviously change the way he plays, but he's got to be a little bit smarter, especially with the game on the line. So, right. But I'm just hoping that tomorrow there is no game, there is no close game. It's I want to see total domination from the opening whistle. But anytime you got Draisaitl and McDavid in there, Right. Right. All right. So this is the conclusion of Grumpy Old Men episode number 14. And I'm just going to change the name from just Florida Panthers review to Grumpy Old Men and probably get a hell of a lot more views. And it's a lot accurate. All right. So the comments from you guys. Obviously, I want to hear some feedback on the defense pairing situation. What's your guys' feelings about what we've talked about? What are your suggestions? You want to bring up the Bob and the Knight thing? Yeah, but let's focus on the big thing right now is the line combos and the defensive, combinations. Right. And I'm curious to see what your thinking is. And let's just see what Maurice does tomorrow. Let's see if he's watching and
Yeah,
puts Mahura up with Montour.
wouldn't surprise me. All right, guys, we appreciate all the support. And tomorrow, game starts at 4, live stream starts at 3. And as long as I don't get food poisoning again, I will be there for the entire stream this time. Although Kyle killed it, Kyle had a great time, so that helped me out a lot. And I was in a bad way. If you watch the first 10 minutes of the game during the stream, you just watch me go from all right to I just you could see my color change, and I'm just like, I don't feel so good. And I didn't go, man, it was rough.
Did that medicine work?
Yeah, the medicine worked. As long as I laid in bed and stayed still, as soon as I started moving, man, everything was moving, and it was pretty bad. So all right.
All right.
We'll see you guys again really soon.